Welcome to Doors to Hope and Healing, an inside look at foster care and adoption needs in Connecticut. My name is Jacqueline Ford. I have had the honor of working for the department for close to 30 years, and although I may be familiar with many of the topics I bring to you, I have invited experts in those fields to help dispel the myths and misconceptions that often act as barriers. Join us as we open our doors to an inside look at the Department of Children and Families. Hello, welcome to Doors to Hope and Healing. Anthony, thanks for joining us again. And Rafael, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
As a recap for our viewers who are just joining us, we've been talking about dispelling those myths and misconceptions that are associated with fatherhood and releasing that stigma and all the work that the Department of Children and Families is doing to engage fathers in the life of their children. So this is sort of a part 2 segment of work that we've been sharing with our viewers, and we're here to talk with Rafael about his experiences as a father with the Department of Children and Families. Anthony, can you talk a little bit about how you first met Rafael?
So it's funny. So our Fatherhood Engagement Leadership Team, every year we do a community day, Dads Matter 2 Community Day. And I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago, Mr. Lozano was at the event, and we sort of crossed each other's paths, but really didn't speak. And then about 2 years ago, a part of that event, we do a 1-mile walk where we ask dads to walk with their children or father figures or whomever that child identifies as their dad. And Mr. Lozano was leading the pack, and I was sort of leading the pack. I had my son, he had his son, and we were sort of like this, and his son was on his left, and my son was on my right, and I looked down, and my son and his son are holding hands, and I'm holding my son's hand, and he's holding his son's hand.
Oh my gosh.
So we just started walking and talking, and that's literally how we met. And he had come to the event multiple years. I just saw him in pictures, but we never actually spoke. And we started talking, and he started sharing things about himself. And I invited him to be a part of our Fatherhood Engagement Leadership Team. And it's been history since.
Oh, what a beautiful story. Is that how you remember it too?
Yeah.
You can't burst that bubble right now. So tell me a little bit about yourself, Rafael.
It's not much about me. No, I'm just playing.
Yes.
First thing I would say, I'm a father. Beautiful son, 9 years old, Joshua. Pretty much I feel like the purpose of my life right now. I'm a religious person. I'm a football coach. I'm a businessman. I'm a child care provider, licensed in Waterbury, Connecticut. What else could I tell? I'm a happy person. I'm happy right now.
So tell me about the path of your life. So you became a dad 9 years ago, and did your life change immediately 9 years ago, or did it take you some time to just become acclimated to that new role? Because it's a pretty powerful role to have.
Yeah. My life changed the moment I cut that umbilical cord, which I had the fortunate ability to do that. The doctors let me do that. That instant, I just knew I had to do better. I had to do more. And I remember it like it was the most precious day of my life, I can say.
And did you take an active role in parenting your son from the very beginning?
Yes.
You had a role in his life?
Always. Put him to sleep, wake up, feed. I was always there.
And had you had any involvement with DCF? How did you know about Dads Matter 2 and about being a part of any kind of community events?
That I fell into that just researching, just things to do with my son, just how to do something different. We will always try to pick something different to do, and I saw it, and I said, "You kind of parked the car," and I was like, "What's going on here?" And they would explain to me, what was going on. I said, buddy, you want to do this? You want to run? And, I'm not a runner. I hate running. But he wanted to do it. And I said, okay. And then he saw the shirts, and he's like, how can we get one? And I was like, I don't know. Let's talk. And we approached everybody there, and they explained to us what was the purpose of this event. What was the purpose of these shirts? What did it mean, the symbol on the shirt? And he said, Dad, it looks like you and me. And I said, yeah, that kind of does. So from that day, we've always been involved in one way or another.
So you just fell upon the event. It
Yeah.
wasn't as if you had registered or you had planned to be
Oh,
there.
no.
You just literally, and what town was it in that you saw? Was it the Waterbury?
In Waterbury, yes.
Wow. And you felt like you belonged there, and you've become
That
a
was
part of
it.
that ever since.
Yes.
Wow. So tell me about your work with Felt leadership team.
My work with Felt, I would say, is giving the perspective of how things are viewed from someone who's not directly in the agency. So how I see things or how I perceive things or my experiences as an outsider, if you would say. By sharing those brutal truths from my way of portraying that, I think that they could see how it affected me and how to improve on these things, and how to also deliver the message that they're trying to deliver to people who are like me.
So I know that you've done something pretty remarkable in the daycare world. And before we get to talking about that, as a dad, for the past 9 years, or let's say before you became involved with that leadership team, what types of barriers or biases do you feel were held against fathers?
I would say there's a lot. There's a perception that a father cannot be maternal or what's perceived as maternal. There's a perception that a father can't cook. There's a perception of many things, and I just want to say it's not true. I've had situations where I interacted with other fathers because of the education I received in Felt University, that I've been able to share that knowledge with them and help guide them to the right resources and people to help strengthen that relationship with their children. So, yeah, you can do anything you put your mind to.
Well, you're definitely a messenger. Being a part of Felt and receiving those messages and being a part of that leadership team, you're able to help the community who's not a part of that, dispel those myths and misconceptions. And that's what we hope to do on this show, week after week, is to help the community understand the good work that the community is doing, that DCF is doing together with the community and our stakeholders. So we know about the perceptions of a dad and how, you said not maternal, or Anthony had shared with us in our last segment about how, even pediatricians will refer more to the mom than they will to the dad, and not giving them really the respect and the credit that they deserve. Were there any barriers that you saw of things that you almost couldn't do because you were the dad, as opposed to something that may have been easier for a mom to have done?
Yes. I would say my first experience directly was when I separated from my partner at that time. I had custody of my son, and I wasn't able to obtain the booklet from the WIC department. And that booklet, if you don't have that booklet, you can't do anything. They give you checks, and that's how you obtain the food at the supermarkets. And I just said, hey, listen, I'm no longer with the person. How can I get that booklet for my son so I can just keep his diet in order and everything that we have to offer here? And they told me no. And I asked them, why not? They said, well, you're not the mother. And I asked them, and I said, but if the program is designed for the child, and we meet all the economical guidelines, we meet the age requirements, why not? If it's for the child, and the child is the same, my situation is different. I even brought court documents, and they denied me that booklet. So by denying me that, if I was a father, which I was going through a difficult time at that time, if I was in a worse situation, my child wouldn't have been so great in that sense of being fed, which that's what I was told the program was for. But putting my resources together and having great people around me, I was able to come through.
So you never were able to get that booklet for your child?
I was never able to get that.
Wow. For our viewers just joining us, can you tell us again what FELT stands for?
It's the Fatherhood Engagement Leadership Team.
Okay. So that definitely is a barrier, and that's something that, how do you, and Anthony, weigh in too, how do you get a system, a state system, your bureaucracy, WIC, to change their mindset and have it be about who's ever caring for that child? Like you said, you meet all the guidelines to qualify for that child to receive that. Mm-hmm. How do we as a community, as state agency, create that change?
So I think it's about developing partnerships and educating folks. A part of my role as the lead for the FELT, at least in my region, has been to reach out to our community stakeholders, different social services agencies, and explain to them what Dads Matter To means. And it's not about dads being more valuable than mothers, it's dads being as valuable. Mm-hmm. It's Dads Matter To equally to moms. The other thing that I'm fortunate enough, and this is an I thing, that will hopefully benefit the state. I've just been appointed by our commissioner and deputy commissioner to serve on the Connecticut Strategic Planning Committee for Fatherhood. Wow. So issues like that and other issues that come to fruition, I'll be able to be at the state level with other state local agencies and stakeholders, and the focus of that strategic planning committee is to even out the playing field for dads in all capacities. So when a situation like that arises, that's something I could bring back to that team and say, hey, this is a matter that we need to address, and I get to do that for our agency. Wow. And I'm so proud that that honor was bestowed upon me.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I think they made a wonderful choice
Thank
in
you.
doing that. So back to you, Rafael. I hear that you started something pretty impressive, a daycare.
Yes.
Can you tell our viewers what made you even want to take that journey to become a daycare provider? What was your reason?
My main reason was I've been doing this technically all of my life without realizing it. My mother is director of a school that we have overseas, and I participated in that all my life, teaching kids English, preparing them to come to the United States and not have the language barrier when they get here. And being a single father and finding a reliable daycare and finding something that's going to work around your schedule was very, very difficult and very, very expensive. I was approached by a member of 211. They were having an event, and we just started talking, and they asked me about my background, and they said, you should open a daycare. And I was like, I didn't think about it much at that time, but as I started to talk to more people and understand the difficulties that they were having, it piqued my interest a bit more, and I saw that I had the ability to do something about it. Once I started researching and reaching out to people, and they were pointing me in the right directions of how to do this, I just didn't look back. I just needed to do it because I saw myself and a lot of other people at some point in time in their life, and the stories were the same, and I just figured I could help, and I found my way.
And what's the name of your daycare?
Daddy Daycare.
Daddy Daycare.
Yeah.
And do you have certain hours? Do you have various staff members? What's your ratio for adults to children?
I am currently licensed for 9 children, and I have 1 staff member, female, my sister. So I've kept it in the family.
Oh, I love it.
Hours, anywhere from, the hours are funny because I cater to the parents. Mm-hmm. So having 2 of us, I can kind of pick up 1 shift, she can kind of handle the other shift. Mm-hmm. So I tell parents, just tell me what you need, and then we'll see how we can accommodate you the best way possible. And if it's something that I can't do because of the distance of something of that nature, we do transportation, or I've been able to have a network of other providers within Waterbury that are licensed, and I can direct them towards them and say, they're right around the corner from your house. I went there, I talked to them, you will be a good fit there.
Wow, that's and how many, what's the ages of the kids that you provide care to?
Anywhere from born to the age of 13.
Wow, that's very impressive.
Yeah.
Daddy Daycare.
Yeah.
I love it. And how long have you been licensed?
We've been licensed since last year. We obtained the license. Inspection took a little longer than normal.
Yeah. Is it a home daycare, or do you have a center?
Home daycare, yes.
That's a grueling process, I know, but you have to make sure that everyone's safe, and it's a place where kids could be their best self. And are you at full capacity?
Not yet.
Not yet.
No.
Well, you're growing, and our viewers, and this is in Waterbury, right?
In Waterbury,
Daycare.
Connecticut.
And if anybody's interested in needing childcare in that area, is there a number or a website you can refer them to?
Definitely. You could reach us at Daddy Daycare CT. We're on Facebook, and the phone number is 475-233-9339.
Well, congratulations. You're impacting the community and our state, and it's very exciting, a lot of good stuff. Before we close today, Anthony, there's a question that I want to ask you that I wasn't able to ask you in our last time that we met and were together. Okay. If you could look ahead in 5 years, you have done so much over the past 13, 14, 15 years at dispelling those myths and misconceptions and reducing the stigma associated with fathers and empowering fathers to have a voice, and just hearing your story and having you at our table, so much beautiful work has been done. But if you could see yourself and the way that fathers are respected in 5 years, what change would you like to see? Is there anything significant that you think needs to change?
Well, I think that this is not something that a DSS or DCF should be carrying the load alone. Mm-hmm. My hope is that in 5 years that a number of community provider stakeholders will see the value in dads. I wish we didn't need a fatherhood engagement leadership team. Like, if I could project forward that could actually go away. As crazy as that sounds, because I enjoy doing what I'm doing, but it still exists. So I have a campaign where I'm looking for community providers from all over the state mm-hmm. to step up and do small fatherhood-based events. And I feel like if we can have something on, and I call it the community calendar. Mm-hmm. If we could create this community calendar of all these fatherhood-based events where local, state, small providers do these fatherhood events and really start to invest themselves in fathers, I think we can eradicate and eliminate and mitigate a lot of the barriers that fathers face. And I feel that fathers will be far more respected in that way. And most importantly, those fathers who have those struggles. My hope is that those fathers can overcome those struggles. Mm-hmm. And for the fathers who need that help, I hope that they're willing to allow us and other agencies to help them become more involved, invested in their children's lives, so this state just becomes a better state as it relates to fatherhood. I would love for Connecticut to be called the most father-friendly state in the country. Like, that's a personal goal mm-hmm. of mine, the most father-friendly state in the country. We're a small state and we have the capacity, ability, and the backing of a great commissioner and others who support what we do, and hopefully we can bring that to fruition. So in 5 years, it's just
a given.
Equal.
It's just a given.
It's a given that dads matter too, moms matter too, mm-hmm. parents matter too, and all for the sake of kids.
So if any of our viewers are watching and they're interested in getting involved in hosting a fatherhood initiative, how can they reach out to you?
So they can contact me at anthony.gay@ct.gov, or I could be contacted on Facebook at Dads Matter, the number 2, mm-hmm. On Facebook. And I'll just add that we have one of the most viewed sites. We have about 150,000 people who follow us on Facebook. Wow. We started our Facebook page about 6 years ago, and it just took off like wildfire. So we have folks who follow us nationally, internationally. We have a very huge following, and we're really trying to impact people in the greatest way possible.
And I think that your vision in 5 years is coming true, because you're making that national impact and changing the way fathers are viewed in Connecticut. And maybe this is catching on in other states for them to be mirroring the work that Connecticut is doing.
That's what we hope.
It's wonderful that our current administration is building upon our last administration's support mm-hmm. of fatherhood engagement, and we're now going to end our show, and we're going to show a video clip of our commissioner, Durantis, talking about her support of the Fatherhood Initiative. So thank you both for joining me. I'll have you back in 5 years to talk about how there's no longer a felt team.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you, Anthony. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. You guys look great. And so what I will kick off today with is this opportunity to continue to tell our stories in a way that reflects the resiliency of what happens when systems, communities, and families can lean in to support dads in a more positive way. So what I'll do is I'll share my Dear Dad story with you. You guys can listen in as I talk to my pop. Dear Papa, you were 17 when you had me. That must have been pretty scary. I'm sure you heard a lot of what pregnancy was going to do to you and my mom, and that was probably a mistake, and all the statistics about teen dads, and what was going to happen to your life as a result of that. Dear Papa, I understand that as a teen dad that must have been hard to ask for help, but you got it. You got help from your family. You got help from your community. You got help from the people around you who leaned in and didn't pull away. Pop, you were able to go to the Navy. You were able to learn a trade. You were able to use that trade to help support our family. You supported my then 16-year-old mom to go to college herself. You knew, and I don't know if you knew then, that she was gonna embark on a 30-year teaching career to help other kids and to help other teen dads to kind of overcome the stuff that you were experiencing at the time. Hey, Pop, she also got help from the early childhood programming that gave her and you the ability to make sure that I was okay. And Dad, I'm not just okay, we're thriving. Although your body gave out at 56 because all the other stuff that took its toll on you, I know you're here with me every single day. And dear Papa, because you and Mommy and the help of all the other people around you that young parents get, I'm okay. Guess what, Pop? Tomorrow I drop off my babies at college. And Pop, I'm doing okay because you and Mommy understood that as teen parents, you weren't defined by the decisions that you made when you were 16 and 17 years old. And the adults around you knew that they had to create buttress of support that you needed to make sure that not only I would be okay, but that you would be okay too. And Pop, guess what? I'm not just responsible for my babies that I'm taking to school tomorrow. I'm responsible for 4,326 kids in Connecticut's foster care system that need to get back to their families. And Pop, guess what? I'm standing here today in front of a room full of people. And I'm asking them to take out their conference folders, and I'm asking them to take out a pen. And on the cover of that folder, I'm asking them to do and to write one thing. Pop, I'm asking them to write on the cover of their folder, because sometimes, Pop, when people go to conferences, they come and put the folder on the shelf and they don't look at it again. They feel good when they leave. But I'm asking them to write on the cover of this folder and share it with somebody before they just put that folder on the shelf. I'm asking them to write these simple words. When we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. When we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. Dear Pop, I'm okay. I'm okay.